Well, I'll give you guys the same message I just gave them. If you haven't had your ass whooped before, you just did. And it hurts, and it's not easy. But in this game, that's going to happen. And it's a part of the game. It stinks. It doesn't mean you didn't work hard. It didn't mean you didn't prepare. It means you didn't get the job done. And whether it's a 1-point loss or a 34-point loss, it's a good old-fashioned ass whooping at home, which hurts. And they beat us in every phase of the game today. Give them credit, it's a really, really good football team. And we knew coming in here that we were going to have to play and execute really, really well. And we did not do that today. And I mean that in all three phases. I take blame myself. Right there at the end of half, to be honest with you, probably playing right about the way that you want to be able to play, and probably in the situation that you really want to be in with about 35, 40 seconds to go in the half. And those last 40 seconds, unfortunately, completely turned a lot of things around, and then come out the second half in 4, 5, 6 plays, whatever it was. And obviously from there, we kind of crumbled and didn't execute in any phase, and really, really difficult. That's a group in there that again, not saying what their expectations are. They all understand they have expectations, and they work their butts off to to go out there and play this game. These 12 guaranteed opportunities to us, and this one is one that didn't go the way we had envisioned, and it has a lot to do with the way that we played. And the team like that, knowing that top 5 football team, class of college football in the last 20 years, you're going to have to earn it, and we didn't earn it today.
Go ahead. Bring the mic in over here.
Luke, I know it's right after the game, but do you have any idea of how the severity of his injury or what happened there?
No, he wasn't able to come back. We'll get a little more clarity hopefully here soon. Get an MRI and things like that. I don't think it looks real good for us, for him, and that's really, really difficult, because I think he was really well prepared, and I think that he had grown in those first few weeks and was really sharp to start that game.
What would you have changed about that last minute of the first half? Would you
have
done something different?
Scored a touchdown. Made a field goal. A lot of things, in hindsight's 20/20. You got a shot to score a touchdown. That, to beat an Alabama team, you're going to have to make those plays. And there's some part of me that says I wish we would have ran the football, but that's obviously second guessing yourself after the situation. There's some things that you could have taken the time off the clock. All those things being said, you're not going to beat an Alabama football team. You're not going to beat a top 5 football team if you don't take those shots. And so I take responsibility for not getting that thing done, and especially there at half. But you're not going to win kicking field goals. You're not going to win, playing real conservative. But you were in the position there right before half that in the first 2 weeks we learned a lot from, that we executed down the stretch and ended up with the half of the ball, and maybe not had the momentum because we wanted more, but put ourselves in a position to go into halftime in a better spot.
Just wanted to get your thoughts, Luke, initially, just on how Braden stepped in there and kind of what stands out to you about.
It's hard to say. He did some really good things. I think early on, obviously it was a little bit tough. I think his first 3 or 4 maybe weren't real good. We got to protect the football better. I think we turned it over a couple times today. We got 0 turnovers again defensively. Give them credit for that, but there was also 2 other times the ball's on the ground. And you're not going to win big football games. You're not going to beat really, really good football teams when you do those things. So, again, we got the utmost confidence in Braden. It would have been a battle all through fall camp and even in spring football. And Braden can execute this offense and do some things even different than Tyler can. But it wasn't going to be enough today.
Luke, with what you said about needing touchdowns in a game like this, how much did you consider going for it on 4th and 3 instead of trying to field goal late there in the first half?
Well, that's the situation there. That's why, in some ways maybe you kick yourself because, get 2 or 3 yards or get a yard on that, and then maybe you would run that thing down there again and take another shot at it. But with the time, the key was to end the half with the ball. And If you can do that, you put yourself at least in a position knowing you don't get the ball in the second half, knowing you got to come out. You're going to have to play 4 quarters. And so either way, there were some other situations we missed the 4th down in the first drive, I think. That, again, you're going to keep taking those shots, but in order to beat a team like that, you're going to have to execute a hell of a lot more than we did.
When you make staff changes and you come in, it obviously sometimes can take a little while to get where you want to be at this point. What do you feel like this team does really well, or are the things you think you can hang the hat on?
Well, we still got to figure that out. It's still early, and I think we can run the football. I think we can do some things up front, offensive line-wise, that gives us a chance. And I think that you saw that in the first half. I didn't say that we're, blowing people off the ball. I mean, that's his big and good-looking defensive line and the guys that they roll through there that you're going to see all year. And I think those guys can do that. And I think that's where we got to hang our hat on. I think we'll be a little bit different if Braden's the quarterback, meaning there's some situations that there's some things that he does better, that we'll have to lean on those guys up front, maybe even a little bit more. But all those things kind of coming together, we knew this was going to be a battle. And I don't mean this game. I meant this season. And we can't jump to conclusions. I know that's your guys' job, but the number one thing in that locker room I told these guys is we've went through this. We the leadership group talked about these things, and what are you going to do when you're 2-0? What are you going to do if you're 4-0? What are you going to do if you're 2-1? How are you going to handle these things? How are you going to handle what everybody wants to say about you? So it's a part of it. We understand that. We know we've got a hell of a long way to go to figure out what we are and what we can hang our hat on. But I have faith and trust in those guys in that locker room, and that's what you got to continue to ride with.
Just you got an up-close look at Milroe today. Just what is it that makes him just so dangerous, so tough to kind of contain?
It's a combination. I mean, they are willing to run him maybe a little bit more than I would have expected. But, I mean, that's something that, is a great equalizer for him. He throws a great deep ball. And they've got some guys that can go up and get it. And that obviously that hurt us in 3rd and 8 in the first quarter when, those ones that are uncontested that you don't love, we got to do a better job at least making them earn those things. But he's a combination that makes it very difficult. And if he can connect down the field, that's something that's really tough to handle. I know that maybe he didn't do a great job of doing that last week, but that's a little bit different team. They got some guys back up front on the offensive line that make them even a little bit different.
Yeah, Luke, I know you don't want to make excuses, but how defeating is it just to see Tyler go down after it looked like there was some momentum on that first series?
Well, it's not defeating at that moment, right? I mean, you go through those scenarios, you do those things. It's defeating. You feel bad for the kid. We've all been through it, unfortunately. A guy that's, done what he's done, come, a long way, coming here for 1 year and putting in all that he put in. We unfortunately we've seen a little bit of this last year with a guy that had dedicated so much to it and then getting hurt. Unfortunately, it's a part of the game. It is hard. It's hard on me not because just the team, but because of the kid. And but unfortunately, it's a part of the game. We'll find out. I don't know. I can't say exactly what has happened just yet to him. But it is it's a gut punch. But that's when you find out what the rest of the crew's made of, and we're going to find out.
Luke, you mentioned some things that you think maybe Braden brings the offense are different than Tyler. Can you maybe point out 1 or 2 things that you think that maybe Braden can elevate in a certain area of this offense?
I think we can play even at a faster tempo if we want to. I mean, he knows the offense like the back of his hand. He can make some adjustments and checks out there that that I think that even before we can make a signal for. So he is a student of the game. He just think that there's some other things that are a little bit different. He made some pretty darn good little pull reads and throws and some tight windows and some traffic. He's got to hit we had a couple shots at some of the deep balls. They give us an opportunity to be that spark that we needed. But we're gonna have to find out if he's the guy that as we move forward, we're gonna have to be smart, but we're gonna have to figure out the things that we got to be able to adjust and adapt to.
Obviously, Alabama, a lot of talent in a lot of different areas, but I'm wondering, once you saw them on the field and your team matching up with them, was there any area that maybe they were a little tougher than even you would have anticipated until you saw them head to head.
That offensive line's better than, not that I thought, but I mean, it's a physical group that will flat get after you. And I was impressed just from the side of seeing that. And I mean, again, you got to play so sound. I mean, you got to play well down the field with the the talent that they have, the size, the wideouts, and the speed. But you got to be able to contain the quarterback too. So there were some things we did pretty well. Making them earn things in the first half. I think that was the whole philosophy, is to make them earn things in the first half. We got to leverage the football and we got to swarm to the ball. And when you do that, you have a chance to to force guys back inside, try to create some turnovers, and that's not what we did. When they had their bigger plays, they were shots down the field, and it was when, even when Milrose broke the edge. And, later in the second half, we fell out of character to ourselves, and, that's disheartening, but those kinds of things are, I think a lot more correctable.
Coach, what positives can you take from a game like this?
Well, I'll tell you in about 3 days, because you really see who really cares. And I don't mean that guys don't care, but I mean like that who doesn't listen to the noise, who doesn't hear all the things that people want to tell them that they can't do, right? Then I'll tell you what, the positives, because an ass whooping's an ass whooping, but if you can get back up and move forward, then you can grow from it. But if you can't, and it demoralizes you and it keeps you down and it puts you back and it makes you lose confidence, then there's nothing positive about it. So obviously there's some guys that did some things and make some plays. We'll figure that out. But I think it's more about the whole and finding out, what kind of heart, what kind of passion we have for this, and what kind of leadership do we have.
Luke, when we were talking in camp, you talked about the importance of cutting down the fumbles, and that's something that's kind of been an Achilles heel the first 3 weeks here. Do you see a through line or something that's happening more often than not about these fumbles? I know everyone's their own situation, but
I don't know. I mean, we went live much more this year. We went live in spring ball. We went live every third day in camp. You would think that you would be better at taking care of the football with all the live action that you've had, and unfortunately, we're not. And it's cost us. It's put us in really tough situations, in the first couple games, and I think it cost us, big time today. You can't give a team like that the ball twice inside your own 25, 30-yard line, with the momentum and the spark that, people think that it's just about, big plays, right? All the analytics will tell you that turnovers don't matter as much as big plays do. And I'd tell you that's not the case because of the energy, the momentum that is created. And they did a great job of that. And if we don't correct that and we don't find a way to take care of the football, we'll struggle.
Luke, I know the game just ended and you don't know exactly what the future holds, but at the quarterback position, is there any chance that maybe Matoyer could be in a position to maybe help you if need be at some point this year?
He's going to have to be ready. He's going to have to be ready because, as we've all talked in college football, I mean, it's in all football, but the quarterback position is so unique. In college football right now, it's probably the most difficult to, maintain that locker room or maintain that quarterback room, and you got to have guys ready. Unfortunately, we could have to have, a true freshman that's got to be ready to roll. Even the first series or second series Braden was in there, I see him kind of working his hand, after he takes a shot and fumbles the football, and he's one play away, and he's a lot closer today than he was in the past, and he's going to have to grow up fast.
Coach, other than fumbles on offense and the big pass plays on defense, what do you do moving forward to adjust, get into the meat and veg of the system? One thing on offense and defense that you just go, damn, we got to fix this going into
Well, we got to fix
schedule.
the turnovers. We just said that. And I think that the ability to take care of the football. We knew we wanted to take some shots today. I think we strategically had some shots. We just didn't hit them, and that's the difference in the ball game. They have 2 or 3 shots down the field that maybe are more open than ours, and they make really good plays and catch and throws. I'm not saying that's the only difference in the ball game. And then defensively, we got to find a way to create some turnovers. We got to find a way to create more havoc. I thought in the first half we did a
solid job of doing and executing the game plan of, making sure we leverage the football and swarm, and until, right there at the very end where he breaks loose a little bit and scores the touchdown, and then we give up the big plays. But there are things to build from, but it's going to be more about what the heart and soul is, where is the head and the mind, because, it's a long season, a long game, and we're going to have to get back up and get back to swinging.